Hello everyone, welcome back to Matt for French Cars. In today's video, we're going to be doing a quick service for this Peugeot 407 2-liter HDI. When I say quick service, I mean oil filter, and the air filter. The little service which I like to do every 10,000 miles. I will be replacing a fuel filter as well, but I'm not going to be showing it in this video as you already have a separate video on how to replace your fuel filter in the separate video in this channel. So now we're gonna go and have a look what we need for this job. Right, my guys, so first things comes first. Let's go quickly through the things we're gonna need for this quick service job. So you're gonna need the jack of some sort. As you can see, this is my loyal jack which has been serving me for absolute ages. You can also use the jack which is in your boot. You're gonna need some axle stands to support front of your car once it's lifted. I personally gonna need to lift my car quite a lot, quite high up, because I don't have a oil drain pan, so I'm going to be using this 10-liter bucket. And as you can see, this bucket stands quite tall, has to go under a sump, so a car is going to have to be higher than that. The under engine, bottom of the engine is going to be higher than that, and that's why I'm going to be lifting it up quite a bit. We also have this ratchet wrench, which is basically equipped with this 10mm socket for undoing the battery terminals. And we're going to be using the same tool, just with this CRV8 hex bit, in order to undo our sump plug, because this bit is going to go inside the sump plug. We have fresh copper crush up washer, which is going to be used for the sump plug. We have screwdriver with a thin flat screwdriver head, and also T25 Torx bit for undoing screws on top of our air filter housing box. We have 27mm socket. This is for the oil filter housing top cap, in order to replace this oil filter, which is, as you can see, one new one here with a o-ring. This is supposed to come, and we'll take the old one out and replace it with a new one. We have a new air filter here, and we have 5W30 fully synthetic oil. We also have a couple of gloves, couple of pairs of gloves, because we don't want to get our hands totally dirty with old oil, because the job is quite a bit messy. A bit of kitchen towel. Right, my guys, so before we carry on and lift the front of a car up, just pull your handbrake as far as it goes, just for your own safety, so the car doesn't roll backwards or forwards when we lifting it up. Right, my guys, so here we are. We just lift the bonnet up, and we're gonna start our little service from replacing a air filter in an air filter housing before our hands gets dirty. So what I would like you to do first is take off your battery cover, and then we're gonna undo the battery terminals. We're gonna undo the negative first and move it a little bit out of the way, and then we're gonna undo the positive one. Alright, you might need to stick something here. That should be alright. It should stay here. That's fine. Right, so with our battery terminals undone, you can now undo your mass airflow sensor connector. And with a mass airflow sensor connector undone, we can undo this little clamp here anti-clockwise, so that we would be able to move this little bit here, this plastic bit off the air filter housing box. Now, to make our life a bit easier, we're also going to be undoing the top of the intercooler hose. Because we will be removing a whole air filter housing box, as sometimes even if you change the filter, there's loads of like little rubbish stuck underneath, so we will want to take that out and just pour it out. Right, so next thing you want to do, you have a little thing going on here which you can just pull out of the air filter housing box, as you can see, as I've done it here. And once this is done, there is a little clip here on the side which you can just press tiny bit, and your air filter housing is going to start to move forward when you pull it. So we're going to just pull it like that and remove our air filter housing box out of the place, as you can see here. So now with your air filter housing box out of its place, we can use this T25 Torx bit to undo the 4 screws securing the top of the air filter housing box onto the bottom. And as you can see now, with all our Torx screws, you can see the Torx screws here undone in basically each corner of the air filter housing box, we can lift up the top of the air filter housing box, which is usually nice and clean from inside, and we can see what we have here. We have our old air filter, which we can just remove and have a look how it looks like. And it looks like, yeah, pretty dirty, I would say. And I'll tell you now the reason why we removed the whole box. Well, the reason we removed the whole box is because that's how much rubbish was in it. And I just want to shake it off, give it a little tap, and make sure all these rubbish comes out. If you want, take some cloth or something and just wipe it inside and clean it and make sure it's nice and tidy. Out. So once bottom of your air filter housing box is okay and you get rid of all the rubbish from inside, you can actually stick it back in a place where it's supposed to be. Let me just see. There we go. We can just stick it in like that, and it clips, it goes into these kind of things here, and it clips is in a place like this. And then what we can do, we can also connect this intake hose. Here we go. Intake hose nicely connected here. If you can see, what we can do now is we can just take and install our new air filter. Here we go. Right, so once we put the air filter in here, we can take a cover and actually put it on top of the air filter like this. And all we have to do now is just tie up back these Torx screws here. And another one is here. Just tie them up nice and tight. And one on this corner. One on this corner here. Alright my guys, so once your Torx screws are done up on into your air filter housing box, what you can do, you can take back this intercooler hose, put it back on, and just do this little clamp up clockwise with thin flat screwdriver. With that done up, we can carry on and plug mass airflow sensor back up and also do this clamp up. Clockwise. Yep, everything is nice and tight. Now we can connect our battery back on, as we only undone these terminals because we had to disconnect the mass airflow sensor, and we didn't want us to get mass airflow sensor fault on our car. Now with our battery terminals done, we can just put the battery cover back on into a place, and that we're not going to need to touch neither this or this anymore. We're going to start to do a messy job now. So as you can see, this is our old air filter, and what we're doing next is we're going to be removing our engine cover and just putting it somewhere aside. We're removing our engine cover to have a slightly better access to our oil filter housing there. And the next thing we want to do is we're gonna undo this oil filler cap. Just leave it somewhere on the side, and now we're gonna go under the car and undo a sump plug and release the old oil out. Right, my guys, so we are under the car now. I'm just gonna show you quickly location of your sump plug. This is a sump, as you can see, under the engine, and the sump plug is just here. As you can see, CRV8 torque hex bit goes right in the middle of it, and we're just gonna try to undo it and release the oil, all the old oil out of it now. So you're just gonna need to stick this here, and then we're probably gonna use a little extension maybe to have a slightly better access here. Not necessarily, really. This space is not great, so I'm just gonna do with my ratchet on the other side of this extension. And as you can see, the sump plug is turning, so that's a great news, and it should turn quite easy now once it's undone a little bit. So we're just gonna be putting a bucket here. I hope you can still see, and we're gonna be releasing the old oil out. Just don't wanna this sump plug to go into my a bit messy. It's all right, it happens. Right, here we go. So all the oil now is going to my bucket, and we're just gonna wait for that to come out. While you're releasing your oil, you can also undo your oil filter cap with a 27mm head. As you can see here, the cap, it's fairly easy to undo it. It just comes off nicely. There we go, and it's undone. What you can do now, you can literally just lift this cap up out of its place, whoop, and land it here. And as you can see, the oil is quite a bit of oil still in the oil filter, which is gonna leak out now nicely through the sump and back into a bucket. And here we have the old oil filter with our oil filter cap, which we want to literally put in a bin or some sort of thing. So what you need to do is you need to literally just take the old one all out and just throw it in a bin, as I've done it now. And you can see your oil filter housing cap here. Right, important thing to mention is you have to change this seal here, which just nicely goes in here, as you could see. So to do that, just put like a flat screwdriver or something so you could grip it and remove this seal from here, so you can see. Hope you can see well. So the old seal has to be replaced with a new seal. So you can see me doing it here. And then the old filter has to be, because we already throw away the old filter, we're just gonna be putting a new one back in place, and it just stays there. Now you can literally just take this bit here and stick it back in a place where your oil filter is, and we're gonna be just literally doing up this oil filter cap. And once it hits that seal, it starts to be a bit harder to do it up, which is not a problem, because that's what means it seals it up nicely. So you just have to keep on spinning this clockwise. And once it starts to be hard, it should be fine. If you have a torque wrench, you would use 25 nanometer to tighten this up. You don't want to tighten it up too hard, but you'll feel it. Once it's done up, you'll feel it. Even tighten it up by hand. Right, my guys, so the next thing to do is just to remove your oil release pan, in my case the bucket, out of the way. So now all we have to do is just put the sump plug with a new washer, copper crash up washer, back in a place. Just tighten it up as much as you can by hand with your fingers, and once it gets hard to tighten it up, just use a bigger tool and literally do it up properly. Make sure it's done up properly. It doesn't I use extension and make sure I can do it properly up. Yeah, that is definitely not going anywhere. It's all nicely done up. Right, my guys, so the only thing is left to do now is just to fill up your fresh 5W30 fully synthetic oil. That's what we're going to be doing now. So we have 5 liters here, and I think the capacity in this engine, what we should be changing, is 5 liters as well. But the thing with engine oil, what helps us out is a dipstick, where we can always check the level and make sure we are happy with it. I'm not gonna put all 5 liters in. I'm gonna leave like a half liter or so out, and then I'm gonna check on a dipstick what's my level of my engine oil, and we will see if we need more or not. Right, we're gonna have a look actually now. We're gonna pull up a dipstick and clean it up. And your oil level should be between this mark and this mark and this mark, so anything in between is good. Ideally you want it to be somewhere in the middle. And at the moment we are right in the bottom of it, so we still need a little bit more of oil. Right, we're gonna try again. Stick a dipstick in fully. We're gonna have a look now. We are on almost a half of what we need to have inside, so I think we are right. There's not much left now to put the rest of it in. And we're gonna be checking it one last time. And now we are on almost, I would say probably 80% of a dipstick, so that is quite perfect. And we're just gonna leave it like that. And now we're just gonna put the oil filler cap back on. Okay, engine cover is back on. Alright, so engine cover is back on now, and all we have to do is just tidy up this mess we made here. Literally just clean it up a little bit, because some of the oil from oil filter has escaped and just, you know, made it a bit dirty. So we just tidy up this a little bit, and yeah, we're good to go. Oil filter has been replaced, air filter has been replaced, oil has been replaced. Oh, and it didn't take that long.